What's up, everybody? Welcome to IGN Game Scoop. I'm your host, Damon Hadfield. Joining me this week is Justin Davis, Sam Claiborne,
What the hell, Walmart?
and Ryan McCaffrey is here joining us today.
Is better, like my shirt says.
Better than what? Just period?
Anything.
Oh,
It's just better.
okay.
We have a great show for you today. We're going to talk about, we're going to check in on the sales of the Nintendo Switch. We're going to talk about Netflix and someone who has already watched. He's finished it. He's completed Netflix. But first,
We're going to talk about our SNES pre-orders being canceled, right?
that just happened. This is breaking news coming in just now. Everyone who had pre-ordered an SNES Classic here in the office
rude.
from Walmart just got the email. Sorry, guys. There was some sort of mistake, some sort of mix-up at the warehouse. And
We're never getting one.
they had to
But not a
cancel.
surprise, though, right? Like, the pre-orders were open for so long, hours and hours and hours. It was clear that something erroneous had happened. I mean, people had
Really?
their
You
fingers...
think so?
They've had their
I thought the
fingers
first
crossed.
wave was like, okay, we can't fulfill these ones. And then today they canceled everybody's.
I mean, I think a lot of people held out hope, but no one else's pre-orders went up. And the pre-orders stayed up for so long that it was like,
Until their website crashed. By the time I got to it, it was an error message. The Walmart crashed.
Here's the good
site
news,
crashed.
is that I picked up a copy of Super Castlevania 4. So now I only need Super Ghouls and Ghosts, and I will have every game in the collection but Star Fox 2.
Exactly.
Which I'm working on.
All right. The Xbox One X is still not available for pre-order. Speaking of pre-orders, that's another upcoming console that we cannot pre-order. However, it sounds like it won't be too much longer now. Our man Phil Spencer says, this is a quote, "Our plan is set for this. All approvals are done now, so just landing the announce with all the info won't be too much longer."
But don't do it at Walmart,
Yeah.
because they burned us.
It's out November 7th. It's not that far out. So in between now and November 7th, do you think they'd want to pick like a good day? Is it going to be random, or is it going to be like do they do September 7th, so it's like in 2 months from today?
I think it'll be either during Gamescom,
yes.
or like if they end up doing a press conference, which some years I think most recent years they have,
Yeah.
or I could see them maybe doing it like the week before to get kind of some buzz heading into it, into Gamescom.
I think
But
mid-conference will be like, and your pre-orders are live now.
maybe,
Yeah,
although
something like that,
as was pointed out on Unlocked this week, the time difference in Germany suggests that that would sort of leave the U.S. out in the lurch as far as
Yeah,
like
it
we'd
could
all
be very
asleep
early in the morning, right?
but yeah, the Gamescom-ish sounds about right to me.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. And that's the week of like August 20th.
Yeah.
Right around there.
About a month from now.
A little late, but yeah, that's a very plausible theory. Yeah, I mean, it's in moments like this that you sort of remember, you're reminded how impossibly complicated the video game hardware business is. Sure. You know, Microsoft's been doing it a long time. Sony and Nintendo have been doing it a long time. But to coordinate with retail partners around the globe and manufacturing and everything else that you have to do, like when pre-orders go live, how many thousands of people at Target and Walmart and Amazon and GameStop all have to spring into action and send their things online, and
That's why games get leaked on retailer websites all the time.
Yep.
You talk about how complicated the console hardware business is. That's why when Atari announces it's making a new console, that's why I raise an eyebrow.
Yeah.
At that.
I just laughed.
The
just
patented,
laughed.
patented Damon eyebrow.
Yep. Was patent pending.
The people's eyebrow. Damon Hatfield.
But how are we feeling about the Xbox One X today? And are we any of us planning to pre-order it when they do go live?
I think the console. I think it's really really impressive and surprising that it's so tiny.
Yep.
Like, it's the most powerful and the smallest Xbox, just as a piece of kit. Like, it's really really cool. For me personally, I don't have a 4K TV, and I'm not getting one this year. Probably, I think my wife shut that one down. So until I get a 4K TV, I'm not paying a tremendous amount of attention to the sort of plussed up home consoles.
Yeah. Sam?
Oh, I had a 180 on this very show, I think. I was thinking my Xbox right now only runs games at, 900 sometimes, 720 at sometimes. And I play all my stuff on Xbox if I can. I don't know why.
Well, you just got used to it and you got in the habit of it last generation.
Yeah, I
Good
have
controller.
a PS4.
Yeah, really
I
great
love the controller, and my media stuff on it is really nice. But I'd love to have just on my 1080p television. I'd love to have 1080.
That's
I'm
true.
totally upgrading. I don't know if I'll pre-order. I don't really care about pre-orders, but I'll get it. That's where I'm at. You should just get it for work.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to pre-order one.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat as Justin, actually. Like, I acknowledge that it's an amazing piece of hardware.
Yeah.
For me, the non-4K benefits, which it does have, are not worth $500 to me. So I think that for me, I've got to have the 4K TV if I'm going to get the console, and I'm same boat. That is not in the budget or the plan to get a 4K TV this year.
Ready to get the Kinect out of my drawer in my house too. That's
I can go any moment, I think.
No. It's going to have to go with the Xbox.
You'll need an adapter to use it with the X.
Yeah.
4K keeps getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. I think this is the year, and I'm not basing this off anything other than my gut and just sort of some chatter around forums and social media, but I feel like this is the year that 4K finally comes down in price, that a lot of people are going to start paying attention to it.
Already at Black Friday last year, 4K TVs were really reasonable.
Yeah. I was talking with a very high up, not to brag or anything, but I was talking with a very high up person at Microsoft. At
Miyamoto?
That's an alternate universe where
Also,
Microsoft did buy Nintendo.
It's Major Nelson.
No, but he was saying, there's this. They've been sort of internally. They've been. Of course, they keep an eye on TVs.
Yeah.
The brand is TCL. That was recommended to me as a budget, like good TV for a good price. They're apparently it's a Chinese company that's sort of just now breaking into the American market. Not unlike, I don't know what their country of origin is, but Vizio 5-7 years ago was an unknown quantity, and now they're a well regarded set. But TCL, and it's the P605 is a 55-inch 4K TV with HDR, $600.
Yeah.
So it's like I
That's
still
just standard pricing for it.
Yeah, and it's apparently the viewing angles on it are bad, and also I guess the built-in speakers are pretty crap. But like the picture quality, according to Artings.com and AVS Forum and a lot of the big TV sort of media sites.
Yeah.
Good set.
You don't want the 1080 Xbox experience, at least for the time being?
Not for 500. That's a lot of money for
You can sell your old
the
one.
super sampling, and I could, but I've got mouths to feed at home. So.
Did you guys see the Crackdown 3 updates out of Comic-Con over the weekend?
Yeah, the writer.
Yeah, well, the writer was there. They also revealed that Terry Crews is like a fully playable character in the game.
Well, it's funny.
As it should be.
Yeah, it was a little bit of, they at E3 botched as being a little bit mean, but they did botch it a little bit where they announced, Terry Crews, this big splashy announcement.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, people are a little bit confused. And
Yeah.
they're like, well, wait a second, was that just an advertisement? Or are you actually saying that he's in the game?
I asked the lead designer on the IGN Live show at E3, so can you play as Terry Crews in the game? And because he hadn't been, now we know in hindsight, he hadn't been authorized to announce it because that's their Comic-Con beat. It was just kind of like, well, we'll see. Come on. It's a cool thing.
It is a cool thing.
It should be a cool thing, not a confusing thing.
When it's that game, I loved Crackdown, and I want that franchise to be good. But there's no denying that Crackdown 3 has had kind of a shaky history, and I think it's neat. Like, it sort of shores up. It gives people something to sort of point to and latch onto when it comes to that game. That's just good news all around.
Sure.
Good guy, cool guy. Everybody really wants to see more Terry Crews, at least for now. And so, really, really good get for Microsoft. And Crackdown.
I don't know who that is.
He's a comedian. I think he's appeared in.
Well, put it this way: The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, is the poor man's Terry Crews.
Whoa.
That's how talented Terry. I love. He's hilarious in everything he does.
He's in
I
a
love
movie.
that guy.
He's been in a bunch of movies. Is he an Expendable?
Yes,
He was an Expendable.
and he had a
I'll look that
sitcom
up.
for a while whose name escapes me.
Yeah. And he's appeared in some humorous commercials.
He's good in
as
everything.
well.
Old Spice commercial.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those Old Spice commercials.
Yeah.
Got those dancing pecs.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. As soon as Xbox One X pre-orders go live, you'll hear about it on IGN. But let's switch over to the Nintendo Switch. We got an update on sales with Nintendo's financials. They just finished another quarter last week. The Nintendo Switch is up to 4.7 million units sold worldwide.
Worldwide.
It has outsold the Vita now.
Wow.
And the
PlayStation Vita.
How is it tracking with the Wii U?
The Wii U was like 14 million, so it has a ways to go. Lifetime.
Give it
and whatever.
a year.
What about in its year, though? I wonder. Yeah, that was probably the best sales period for the Wii U.
Yeah.
There's no way to know.
You have something to say?
Well, it's hard to. They're selling every single one they can make.
Yeah.
So the headline might as well just be, Nintendo managed to manufacture 4.7 million Nintendo Switches, because it's hard telling. Like, what's really going to be the story is how many have they sold when there's enough of them that they're just on store shelves and they sort of saturated demand.
Yeah.
I heard this last weekend was a really good weekend to pick up a Switch.
That's what I've been saying on Scoop for a while. Like, I know people are kind of despairing. Like, they really want to switch. They want to play Zelda, don't want to play it on their Wii U. But every single time a batch comes in stock and a bunch of people buy them, they get a little bit easier to find and a little bit easier to find because that's a group of 50,000 people that don't. That
there was a
on the hunt
pre-order,
anymore.
Best Buy pre-order this week that was like over an hour. Long.
Well,
like
and
that's crazy considering it's been a minute.
The other thing that's changed is the bundles now are not. It's like you can get a bundle that's like Zelda and one other game and like a Pro controller, and it's like that's all stuff you would buy anyway. So it's like and we've talked about that on the show before.
Yeah, people
too.
got
like,
a little bit mad. When
like people are
those.
well, people are mad. I mean, I get
It
it.
depends on what's in the bundle.
No,
Exactly.
I'm very anti store bundles.
Yeah, you just want your naked system.
Well, just let me buy what I want. Don't.
No power
They're
cable.
holding the
they
console
force-
hostage.
Yeah, exactly.
But look at the bundle, and if it's all stuff you would buy and they're not charging a premium, then that's a way that you don't need to wait a couple months to get a Switch.
So did you guys see the Think Geek NES Classic bundles?
Yeah, those are not so great.
That's garbage.
Did you see those? No. They would enrage you.
Do tell.
It's like a Mega Man helmet for $200. And then the NES
I hate it already. Yeah.
or it's like these high end collectibles that are super cool, but like they're not the games.
They have a crazy margin on, I'm sure.
Yeah, or whatever the case. It's not a game. It's not a carrying case. It's like one was like a vinyl poster set, but it was like $170 or something. It's like completely crazy.
The other thing, I mean, maybe you're gonna get into this.
Those are available right now. Like,
Isn't Think Geek owned by GameStop?
Is that
I don't
true?
know.
And that's why they're in that like
I
mean
didn't
bundle
think so.
business.
I thought they were their own.
Not true?
I don't know.
All right,
You
all
could
right.
be right.
Okay. Anyway,
There's no way to know.
no,
There's no way anyone could know. Were you gonna talk about the software sales at all? Because they announced.
I
that at the
was,
same
but
time.
first I want to say, so the Nintendo Switch has sold 4.7 million. Do you know what the next console it has to beat in the list of like console
Ooh,
sales?
good question. Sega Saturn.
Atari Jaguar?
All time.
Yeah, the next console in line
I
for
can't
it
believe
to,
the Vita-
for it
Oh,
to
Dreamcast.
leapfrog over. It is the Dreamcast.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's great.
The Dreamcast, which fittingly sold about 9 million units since it was released
Out on 9.9.
Out on 99.99.
Wow.
It sold 9 million units.
That's still a big gap to close to catch up to the
So,
Dreamcast.
well, yeah.
The Dreamcast had from what I understand, dozens and dozens of fantastic games too.
The original Xbox, the
Yeah.
Dreamcast.
Because it had Microsoft Tech inside, right?
Yeah.
It said Windows.
Windows
on it.
CE.
Windows CE. That's really funny.
But yeah, Nintendo software is also selling very well on the Switch. Zelda's up to almost 4 million. So
Is it still outpacing the Switch?
the sales of Zelda,
sound like
no.
it.
So Switch is 4.7.
Remember when it was a little bit higher?
I know. Zelda's now at about 4 million. So
And this came from Nintendo, right? Like
Yes.
this is from their quarterly results.
Yep.
Here's what our software sold. So that means it's not MPD data or something like that. That
Sure.
could be like, they're not capturing digital sales
yeah.
or anything like
I was going to say, does it specify, does that include digital?
this is coming from Nintendo. So
Okay,
I
so
imagine it's
yes.
everything. And they also reported they've made like $100 million in digital sales in the quarter. So.
Well, the crazy thing is, like, a rising tide lifts all boats. Because the Switch is a hit, ARMS
Dude,
has
yeah.
sold like 1.1 million copies.
And that's just in June. So it was released June 18th. And those sales are only through June 30th. So
Yeah.
we don't have all of July's sales for ARMS.
like, people are so starved for software, and people just really like their Switch that I'm not bagging on ARMS. ARMS is fine.
Yeah, you
Maybe
are.
ARMS is
Well, but I mean,
It did
like,
get good reviews.
I'm bagging on it a little. I'm just saying for
think
that
we're
game to
all
sell
just-
1 million units in its first month. You can chalk a lot of that up to the
Yeah.
console more so than the software, in my opinion.
Yeah, now we're gonna get ARMS sequels. ARMS 2.
I
More ARMS.
I have nothing.
Armier.
I have nothing against ARMS. I have.
Or ARMS.
You and I played it. We didn't like it.
I have not played it.
I
I've
thought
actually
we
never.
played it on the couch.
No, I watched you play it a little bit, but
What'd you think?
I've actually. I think it looks cool. It's got a lot of personality, character.
I think ARMS is
I
a
don't know if it's for
perfectly
me.
good game. I'm saying you pick 100 analysts, you would not flag that as a million-selling month one game. That's all I'm saying.
Nintendo did.
People love colorful games with lots of different characters. Just look at Overwatch. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has also sold 3.5 million. It's also selling really well.
That's a great
Unstoppable
game.
force.
Yep.
Good, great game.
It's a great game.
All right, moving on. Let's share what we've been playing. And I know a bunch of us have been playing Pyre.
Yeah,
Are we all playing Pyre? Ryan, you playing Pyre?
I haven't played it yet.
Okay.
Eager to after the big review.
The three of us have
Did you
played
dig
Pyre.
into single player at all?
Yeah, that's what I started playing last
No
night.
kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are they different? I don't even know. Is there a different like single player and multiplayer modes or campaigns? I just started playing
Yeah.
the game. And
I mean,
was-
multiplayer is
multiplayer-
just local multiplayer. Like you,
Okay.
You can
match
like randomize
Just
or
match
pick your
it.
teams and then you match up. It's Justin's game of the year.
Well,
Oh, thought he said second place.
Well,
So
that's
here's-
because he told me it was Game of the Year earlier today.
well, I'm
then I said
really,
Zelda.
really enamored with Pyre. I really can't get enough of it. It's really excellent. And I said, guys, I think this might be my game of the year. And then you said, what about Zelda? And I said, oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
that's that game.
My second favorite game of the year. But I do, and I'm someone that liked Bastion, liked Transistor, that's Supergiant's last two games. And this one, to me, it clicks on all levels. Just the confidence of the way that it tells its story and presents itself, and the narration, and how all the gameplay is married so closely with that presentation, and the justification for why you're on this Wizard Sports team, I think is very, very strong. It's to me, it gets everything exactly right, and I can't get enough of it.
I feel like it really came out of nowhere too.
Well, people are a little shaky on it because of the sort of sports. They like the thing that I saw over and over was, I really like Supergiant and I trust them, but this looks weird. And I kept hearing that over and over, and it's nice to hear them sort of put some of that to bed, and it does deliver in a way that the last two games did as well.
Have you seen the Supergiant backlash? I saw our community for sure has picked up. Some people have picked up on this thing. It's like, you guys only like this game because it's Supergiant. Like, they're attributing the kind of Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony fanboyism to Supergiant, which is like, where does that even come from? I don't like. I mean, they made two high-rated games that I don't think are like, people play them and are like, these are awful.
I think they keep getting better and better. Like, I thought Bastion was, it had that conceit of the narrator, and that it sort of skated by on personality a lot.
Totally.
And then I thought Transistor was an improvement over that, and I think Pyre is now even better. So
Very different from those two, though.
Yeah, Bastion and Transistor are much more similar than Pyres. Yeah, but it's kind of they're like an amazing story, right? Bastion was their first game. It was a big hit, made a big splash with Xbox Live Arcade back in the day. And then they followed up with Transistor, which was, I agree with Justin, I liked even more than Bastion. And then now their third game is another home run. It's like, even though it's totally different, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I don't think people like it just because it's that company.
I don't know why you would be against.
Making sense.
I
But
mean, I
also
think
just came out.
the games, I'm seeing some people, it's getting knocked for two main things. You've played the campaign some, right? Mm-hmm. It's getting knocked for the segments between the actual sport, like, when you're playing the
Just
sports
because it's
game.
wordy or what?
Yeah, those segments are too long. Like, it's a lot of reading and sort of making
But those are
choices.
definitely what I hear people like the best about the game.
Oh, interesting. See, I hear that's the
Well, I mean,
one of
they
the
may be
complaints
long,
I'm
but,
hearing,
you know.
yeah. And then I'm also hearing that
Well, I
it's
mean, you can't just like the basketball part of it a lot, right? You like the management and the story. It's all part of the package.
to me, yes, but I think some people do just like the basketball.
Well, then you can just play the
What?
multiplayer, right?
I haven't heard that at all.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I've heard that some people think the basketball part is too simplistic, but I think that they just haven't, as you get
Made it
farther
far-
into
it
it,
gets, they start adding a little bit more to it.
For me,
more
it feels
layers.
like a telltale, like, cool narrative that it's punctuated by kind of a silly game.
Yeah.
It's obviously very like Saga inspired, in my opinion, in terms of these different races coming together and the more adult fantasy story that it's telling. I really love it.
The art is so amazing.
The art's great.
The background drawings are especially cool because then your little wagon or your boat later on, and
Spoilers.
there's another thing too, they move through those parts and like you discover that it's actually a kind of a 3D area that looks just absolutely like it's from the side of a van. It's like that fantasy art, like totally looks like just amazing line drawing, like airbrush fantasy. It's so cool.
It's the almost psychedelic neon color palette,
totally
really
psychedelic,
unlike
yeah.
anything else out there. Ryan, I think you'd really like it. So.
Yeah, I'm eager to give it a try.
Do you like NBA Jam?
Who doesn't?
I do.
He's
I mean,
on fire. Take it to the hole.
I'm referring to the sports part of it as the basketball part, just for expediency's sake. But it doesn't to me feel like basketball at all. Like, it's its own thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so. Ryan,
You can unlock Bill Clinton with a cheat code.
yeah, that's actually true. That's true.
I love it. I love it so much.
Wow, right?
Ryan, what are you playing?
Busted that out.
It's kind of quiet summer, but I was playing. I reviewed just on a whim because Inside was my game of the year last year.
Mine too.
And I became aware of a game called Black the Fall, which was in development before Inside came out, but it has since come out a year after Inside. It is a poor man's Inside.
Interesting.
And I know that sounds like that's like an ultimate backhanded compliment, but yeah, I mean, it's
You played the whole thing, though.
yeah. It's a monochromatic, side-scrolling, physics-based puzzle platformer.
Is it on Xbox?
It's on everything. Yeah, Xbox, PS4, and PC.
It has like some kind of like historical theme.
Yeah,
to
it does have a message at the end because I spent a lot of the game wondering, does this game really have anything to say? And it did at the end.
Countries of Romania.
I mean, I don't want to spoil I'll let people play it and sort of find the message themselves, but Yeah, I mean it's fine, but games don't release in a vacuum. If Inside didn't exist, I'd probably like this a little more. I mean the graphics are okay, and they're just no part of the game compares well to Inside.
Yeah.
But if you remove Inside, which you can't because that's a real thing that exists, it's fine. But yeah, so it's a poor man's Inside, and it was I played it more out of curiosity than anything else.
Did you guys get to play Pikmin at all? I played a lot more of that.
You weren't really selling me on it.
Yeah, and we talked about it last week.
I'm psyched. Tacoma's next on my list. That's out very, very soon. Like I think early or mid-August.
Yeah, finally, it's sneaking up on people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big follow-up from another small studio.
Yeah, we have the review next week.
I mean, yeah, you're talking about how it's kind of a quiet summer, but things are going to start getting exciting next month because we also have
heating up.
We also have
Destiny.
Destiny. But I was thinking Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Yeah,
and that game
it's really cool.
Awesome.
Played it at Comic-Con.
Absolutely.
It's really good.
It sold me once I played it.
We have some new coverage on that hitting IGN next week as well.
Cool. Very cool.
I also want to give a shout out to Eternal card game.
Yep.
It's
I've been playing that on
it's
my iPad.
A little bit of a Hearthstone clone, but it's more accurately described as Hearthstone crossed with Magic the Gathering. It's a little bit more hardcore, skews a little bit more towards Magic, but still has that Hearthstone level of polish and enemies smashing together. And it was in early access on PC for a while, and now it's out on iOS and Android as well. And so I play on my iPad every night.
Yep. Also free to play like Magic or like a Hearthstone.
It's very, very, very generous. The first win of the day, you get a free pack of cards. So if you play a couple matches a day, get one win, you get a free pack. And they've said everything is marketing, so be skeptical of what you read and hear. But they insist that they want the game truly to be like, look, if you play it and enjoy it, you can play it for free.
Yeah, I like
and
that.
then we've been playing a lot of Columns 3.
We played some console. Hold on, you're skipping ahead. Well, okay, we can talk about that now. I've also been playing a lot of this.
Ooh.
This is the Sega Genesis Flashback console. This is the newest, all in one. The games are all built in the console.
How heavy is that? Let me see.
Very light.
Oh yeah, wow. There's nothing in there.
Yeah, I'm reviewing this game or this console for IGN, so I cannot share opinions on it yet. You can look for those soon. But just some facts.
No
about
headphone
this.
jack?
There's no headphone jack.
Weak.
Yeah.
Well, wait.
That's the AC adapter.
I mean, it was amusing that there was a headphone jack on the first one, and then it ended up being kind of useful. And then you had to plug in your Sega CD to that jack. Do you remember that?
Oh, I had a Sega CD.
Can you put
strange,
carts in there?
Yes, you can. So I was just
can
going
put cards.
I was
That's
just going to
really
deliver
cool.
some
Now that's
facts
cool. I like
about
But
this.
we can't talk about.
Sega Genesis
they
Flashback
play.
console. I think it's out in September. It's $80. It includes 85 games. However,
Asterisk.
it is not 85 Sega Genesis games. There's only about 45 Sega Genesis games on there.
I thought it was fewer than that.
Then there's a handful of
Discovered some.
Master System and Game Gear games, and then there are 28 bonus games, which are bootlegs of classics like Space Invaders and Pong. It includes 2 wireless controllers, but you
There's
can
a
also
Pong knockoff in?
Yeah, you can also plug in actual Genesis controllers, and then you can put a cartridge in the top, and it'll load the ROM into its memory, and you can play it then. But it doesn't save it; like you have to have the cartridge.
So the Retron does that same thing.
I'm looking at it. I'm borderline angry just because it goes like 90% of the way toward recreating what the Genesis looked like,
you
but
should,
just
you
it
should
doesn't
feel
go.
the weight of it.
It doesn't go. Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
It's
there's like-
it's like a.
There's nothing in there.
Yeah,
It's I could. Yeah,
it's just empty plastic. Yeah.
just hurl
to
it
the listeners,
into the sun.
it feels like a box of macaroni and cheese.
But it's a little bit hard to communicate. But it's so light that it's clearly just like USB stick, like a little tiny thing, not literally USB stick, but there's
Maybe
a
it
very
is.
very
It's
tiny
open.
something in there. Like, so why not make it 1/4 that size?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
why even make it that big?
or a keychain.
I was just gonna say
It'd be so cute.
Genesis keychain.
Yeah.
It could just be the circle.
Anyway,
Good.
it's called the Sega Genesis Flashback console. You can look for my review on that coming.
Does it have flashback on
later.
it?
Ironically, no, it does not.
Come on.
Yeah, the Sega games are only games that Sega developed or published on there. So,
But there's also Mortal Kombat.
well, yeah, that's the one exception. Mortal Kombat's 1 through 3 are on it,
Blood version.
Yeah.
Not like that
Including-
sweat Super NES trash.
I played
including
a
I
lot.
can't even picture 3 on the Genesis.
I played a lot of 3 on the Genesis. That was my
Wow,
jam.
that's a crazy
Hours
late game
and
to be
Wait,
on the
are
Genesis.
there any EA Sports games on there?
there are no sports games.
I mean, I'm sure the licensing on that is what kills that. But Genesis was the place for the sports
the
games.
sports
No,
games in
they could
the
have NHL and
16-bit.
what's the talking one?
Joe Montana Sports Talk Football.
Yeah. Can you name any lines from that one?
He goes back to pass. I did play the heck out of it.
Good times.
And finally, I've also been playing this game, Darius Burst Chronicle Saviors for PS4. And this actually came about because the physical version is manufactured by Limited Run Games. And I was talking about this
Incredible.
recently on the show because we were talking about Limited Run Games because they're doing Night Trap. They're doing the new physical version.
Oh, wow.
That box
Night
is
Trap.
so big.
Wait, those
I know.
those orders still haven't happened though.
Those
like
haven't
a-
gone live yet.
That's
Oh
like
my
a
gosh.
EB Games.
so stressed
That's like
about
a
that.
Babbage's size promo box circa
I know.
1995.
Well,
like-
it includes a soundtrack and then the little figurines of the spaceship and other goodies.
It's bigger than like the old school PC.
Yes.
cardboard
Oh,
boxes
quite a
where
bit.
you
Yeah,
can-
by like 2 times probably. But when we were talking about Limited Run Games, I was saying, man, I wanted to get this game, but when I went to the site, pre-orders had already gone live and it already sold out. But David from Limited Run Games listens to this show. And so he sent this to me. He was very kind.
so nice.
He said, I've been listening to GameScoop since around 2006. I always smile when you guys mention Limited Run. I heard a few weeks back that you missed out on this game. Glad I can show my appreciation for 11 years of entertainment. Scoop. So
Don't tell Damon that some kid had his pre-order canceled so you can get that.
yeah, exactly. Anyway, this game is super cool. It's a side-scrolling shoot 'em up with
Shmup.
Yeah, shmup. In the vein of Gradius.
Yeah, Darius was a series that was even on the Super Nintendo.
I played G Darius on the original PlayStation, and that was my jam.
Can we get a TurboGrafx Classic? now?
Yeah, exactly. Where
Who
is
owns,
the
like literally who owns the rights?
so
to it?
Hudson
It
was
was
bought
Hudson.
by
No, but TTI came to own it.
or
That's a good question.
NEC? Maybe it was NEC.
But NEC, TTI, I think.
Now you have me
Who
wondering.
are those companies? I've never even heard of those. I know NEC.
Well, NEC was electronics manufacturer.
Who's TTI?
Turbo Technologies.
Wow.
I'm sure Hudson retained.
And then Konami owns Hudson, right?
Do
Yes.
they?
Konami owns.
Konami owns
Well,
Hudson.
Konami. That's bad news.
But that's
'cause-
software.
bad
Like
news.
who owns the actual like hardware?
those expire.
What?
Remember, that's why they can re-release
That's
NESs
why-
and these that can just
Yeah.
play.
Those are unlicensed.
You
well, like,
can
this is at
release it
games.
unlicensed.
You said when you said
Yeah, but I
shmups,
think Sega licensed it.
Yeah,
Technically.
okay, so like
don't know how any-
the technology to read an NES cartridge,
Yeah.
that expired.
Okay.
you can make one.
Okay, but it just couldn't be branded NES. That's what AtGames had to
done with
pay
that?
for, was to
are you
actually
doing with
call
this?
it the Sega Genesis something.
It says funny things on the back.
It
Yeah, it
really
does say
does.
funny things.
It says
We're looking at the Darius.
a new
first.
boss battleship too? Question mark exclamation point.
Yes. Spoilers. All right, let's check in with the listeners.
Hey, listeners.
Listeners, remember you can always reach us at the email address gamescoop@ign.com, just like Chris from Saskatoon did. And I
Cool.
think that's Canada.
oh
Probably.
yeah, eh?
I think Chris has written in before.
He probably has. He says, my retired father-in-law just finished watching Netflix.
I love
Wait.
that.
And
Congratulations.
that is a
That's a lot of
achievement unlocked.
content. Just
Wait a
lot.
second. I know we got to get through the question here. What does that mean?
I have no other
Don't show
information.
him the new Netflix article we published yesterday.
He says he just finished watching Netflix.
You can't wait for the next season of Netflix.
Yes. And he says, rather than babysit the grandkids for once, he told me
Oh.
he might figure out what the appeal of gaming is all about.
Is he gonna? Yeah, I finished Netflix, guys. I'm gonna move
Now
on
I'm
to video
going to play
games.
the video game.
For science.
He says the old goat is looking to me for recommendations that take advantage of his new home theater, a home theater which someone's inheritance paid for. There's a lot bubbling under the surface
Wow.
here. There's a lot to unpack
a
here.
lot of Saskatoon in there.
Yeah. He says, I'm pretty sure he has never touched a controller before.
Wow.
Where would you start a geezer like that? So, what we know, there's a retired father-in-law who's finished with Netflix. He says he might want to figure out what the appeal of gaming is all about. He wants it to take advantage of his new home theater, but he's never held a controller before.
You could get that Mega Man helmet with the NES Classic and start with Super Mario Brothers.
Actually,
work forward
what
from there.
a trippy question. Like I'm kind of
Trippy
torn
question.
between. On the one hand, you could just take him through history, get him an NES Classic or an NES and old games.
Yeah.
That's what everyone else started on, so it should be good enough for him. But on the other hand, modern games are so much better about sort of pulling people in and being friendly.
Are they though?
Well, I mean, easy
Oh,
modes
yeah,
and
I think so,
tutorials
yeah.
and all that stuff. For someone that might help ease you into the gameplay experience. So
Two
I'm
thumbsticks is weird. Is a
Yeah.
foreign weird concept if you've never played a video game
took
before.
my wife a
That's
long time.
true.
I agree with Ryan.
thumbstick.
Wii Sports.
I mean,
It worked for everybody else's grandparents.
True.
it's not really going to take full advantage of his home theater
All right,
system.
all right, I got it.
But he
He
won't
watches
know. He has no
Netflix.
context.
Yeah, I mean, that's
He
true.
can watch Netflix and play Brain Age
Yeah.
on a DS.
Telltale might be all right.
Ugh. Yeah, that is a
Telltale
good idea.
games
It's very
are
similar to Netflix.
Actually, yeah, that's actually a really good suggestion. So you could get a console, PS4, Xbox One, and play some.
Which Netflix or
play
which
some-
Telltale?
Well, if you watched all of Netflix, let's
Walking
see.
Dead.
Yeah.
Season 1.
Probably Walking Dead or Batman. What's so funny?
I like how you prefaced it with, if you watched all of Netflix, then
Yeah, I didn't know if like a racing game would be good, like a Forza. If that's a good place to start.
Forza Horizon 3.
I mean, because they're beautiful and all you press
Well,
a
and
button.
the premise is easy to absorb.
Yeah.
And that game in particular has a very friendly sort of rewind function.
it's like learning how to drive again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really hard.
Sorry, Grandpa, you can't drive anymore. But you
Or
can
sports games.
Driving
Sports games.
Horizon
I would
3.
say sports games because they tend to be casual, FIFA, Madden.
Hey,
but the
more
controls could
analogous.
also be very complicated.
we just
Or Canada.
we just learned on Unlock this week that Canadian Football 2017 released on Xbox One this week.
Wow.
So he's from we got a Canadian
The
family
CFL.
here.
Does EA make it?
No,
Canadian
it's just someone
football?
else. Yeah,
Is it just
There is a
hockey? Is that
CFL.
what they
That's a
call
real
hockey?
thing.
Yeah.
That's a real thing. I don't know.
maybe.
But seriously, the hockey sports games are still like the best game adaptations of sports.
Absolutely.
For game wise
hockey,
for me.
Hockey makes the best video game sport.
For sure. And it goes back to like NHL, So any of
Big
those are
Gretzky's head bleed.
So what's the most recent
because of-
hockey game?
And NHL 17.
17.
And 18 will be out in a month probably, or 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's
What about Blades of Steel?
Ooh.
heck yeah.
Still haven't topped that
Or
one.
just ice hockey.
Yeah,
It's
just
got the fat guy.
There you
ice
go.
hockey.
Skinny guy.
I mean, they're all kind of fat.
regular guy.
You got to go either fat guy, skinny guy. You can't go regular.
You don't ever go regular guy?
Or do you set them up with like a gaming PC and do like Civilization 6? Go that route.
That's deep right there.
Well,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Or-
there's a lot of people. Like I have a sister-in-law that is not a gamer, but has played 1,000 hours of Civ. That's just her jam. I don't think that's that uncommon. Like that in The Sims. Like
Yeah.
There's some good pranks to be had here. Like if you just go full Oculus, which I
Oh yeah.
great.
Just throw them.
just do that and just make it seem like it's plugged into your phone.
Yeah.
yeah,
Set
mean
the
the-
phone there with the wire going out.
the
Put
Gear
this on your
VR?
head.
you actually could do. I mean, VR is not a terrible
Yeah.
choice. Just to show someone how different. Like if you want to contrast, like
We are forgetting though.
Totally.
This what's our
Chris.
his name?
from
Chris.
Saskatoon.
His inheritance is being chewed up as
Yeah.
we speak. So we should probably suggest like the cheapest. Just get like an Xbox 360.
Yeah.
That's like
I mean,
you
yeah.
probably find one of those for $100 or
Yeah,
less.
that's true. If you get that, then you can play Plants vs Zombies and Peggle.
Yeah.
And those are great games that are easy to get into. Also, what about like a Limbo? You mentioned Inside
How
before.
about if we're going the 360 route? Just play Rock Band. He has
mean-
no idea how good Rock Band is.
Yeah,
he could.
that's true.
You could time travel effectively back to
Those were good
to
times.
2006, 2007, 2008 when the music genre was big,
Yeah.
and enjoy that again.
I'm so flummoxed by an adult that's never touched a controller in their life. Like it's hard to predict.
That's a
you know.
retired father-in-law.
Yeah, I mean, not that they exist, but just where would you even start them? It's really kind of.
I know it's a tough question.
And you also can't. I dated a girl for a while that she wasn't a gamer, and I tried, hey, play Mario Party, and she wasn't into it. This was back during that era, and I
I was
tried.
say, you should tell your wife that you
Yeah,
were.
it was many. I mean, it was in high school, and I would try different games out on her that she wasn't ever into, and the one that she ended up loving was Mortal Kombat, just because it was silly and over the top and punching and kicking and like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have predicted that was the game she'd be into. So, you might just need to give your grandpa a menu of options.
Not his grandpa, father-in-law.
Excuse me, give the father-in-law a menu of options, and then he can grab what he wants.
Sounds like the father-in-law is spending the grandpa's inheritance.
Also, would it be his inheritance? Wouldn't it be the if he's an in-law?
Yeah.
He could get.
Unless his wife is sore about it. I don't know.
Yeah,
like
who
I
knows?
said,
There's a lot to.
It's a complicated family
We'll talk about
dynamic.
this more after the show.
Yeah.
I don't know Canadian law.
Yeah. Well, Chris from Saskatoon, do give us an update and let us know what your father-in-law ends up playing for his first gaming experience on his nice.
I thought that
home
was a
theater
pretty
system.
solid Saskatoon joke in
Yeah,
there.
it's pretty good. This next email's from another Chris. This Chris is from Queens.
Okay.
He says, as a regular listener, and after hearing what your other supporters have to say, I consider myself your number 24 biggest fan.
That's fair.
modest.
Yeah. Says I was lucky. I was lucky enough last week. Oh, he says I was lucky enough last week to pre-order an SNES Classic.
Oh no! This email was sent in the past.
By signing up for pre-order alerts, which I received at 11:30 p.m. on Friday while out at a bar. So does that mean he did?
Same.
That's
He
the
got
Walmart
canceled.
one.
That's the one. I mean, that's the only one that's gone live in the U.S. Right?
Yeah.
US,
All right.
yeah.
So Chris
think
from Queens. Sorry.
Other territories have had pre.
Yeah, I think
Well,
other
there was one
territories.
other false
Just like they
alarm,
did.
right?
I don't know. I only know about Walmart.
Oh boy.
So it sounds like Chris from Queens, his pre-order was probably also canceled, but I think we can still answer his question. If he still plans on getting one. He says, I asked myself, which of these games should I be most excited about? My first console was the Nintendo 64, so I had limited exposure to all the games.
The answer is Super Mario World.
And alas, I turn to your expertise. Which of these games would you say is the most important to play first in regards to both its influence on the gaming community and overall best game? And yes, I agree with
Super
Ryan.
Mario World and then Link to the Past.
And Super Metroid. Man, I can't imagine those 3 games.
I mean, yeah.
back to back to back.
I mean, I think every game on the SNES Classic is a stone cold
all home runs.
classic, except for Star Fox 2, just because I haven't played it. But yeah, I think Super Mario World, it's emblematic of the 16-bit era. It sort of gave the Super Nintendo its entire personality. It was
one of the best pack-in games ever.
Yeah,
perfect game. I think the thing that surprises me about Mario World is that it is a 2D platformer. Run, jump, bop on things' heads, but it's more puzzly than I think people expect. That game is filled with secrets, and I think half the levels have 2 exits. They have a secret exit for you to uncover, and it just keeps unfurling new layers of. You find secrets and more secrets, and it leads you to something crazy that I don't even want to spoil.
Where does Super Mario World fall for you guys in the mainline Mario hierarchy?
Maybe number 2 behind Mario 64.
That's where I'm at as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the 3 to 5s for me. I love it.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. It's for me.
We're Mario 3 people.
Mario 3 is number 1, and
64 is number 2 for me.
I probably actually maybe even go Galaxy. I love that game so much.
Gosh, I would kill for Galaxy 1 and 2 remasters on Switch.
I think it'll happen.
Yeah, I think
I like Sunshine better than both Galaxies.
I would love.
Bring Sunshine
How
back
about Sunshine Virtual Console on Switch?
Yeah,
please.
I know.
I haven't played it since it came out.
Neither have I. Yeah,
it has some rough edges, but mainly they're controller based, so it'd be so good to bring back.
Yeah, Pro Controller. Oh, so good.
But I think a good plan is probably Super Mario World, Link to the Past, and then Super Metroid.
Yeah. Can't go wrong.
That's a great way to play them too. I think Super Mario World anybody can play, just hop in and play it.
Yep.
Link to the Past is a little bit tough to get into if you never played a Zelda game in 2D. And then Metroid is just a harder game than both those two.
But still awesome and classic. Okay, before we get into 20 questions, let's play another game.
What is this?
Now,
that's not a game. That's a book.
Books can be fun too, Justin. So last week I was at Comic Book Con, and we were supposed to have The Walking Dead as guests on our show, but they had
the actual zombies.
The actual zombies, yeah. And I was going to play this game with them. I got this book, Can You Survive the Zombie Apocalypse?
Which actors was it going to be? Do you remember any of them?
It's
Most of them, yeah.
the cast and producers.
I want to be
of
Michonne.
the show. You're not playing characters on The Walking Dead. Oh. This is a choose-your-own-adventure book written by Max Brallier, and it deals with the zombie apocalypse to see if you can survive. So I was going to play this with our guests, but they had to cancel on us. So now I've got this book, and then rather than let it go to waste, I thought we'd play it.
But I can play Michonne, who's going to be on the show playing this game.
My answer is already no, I can't. Look at me. I'm not going to last a day in the zombie apocalypse.
And this will be this book is 380 pages long. So I actually went through it a lot and summarized some things. So this will be an abridged version of the book. The setup here is that it's a Monday in July in Manhattan, and you're all collectively playing one person. You'll make these decisions together.
Okay.
A Monday in July in Manhattan, you're at a boring Monday morning meeting in your terrible office job in Manhattan. Someone comes into the room.
I can relate, am I right?
Turn on the TV, and you see there's been this outbreak at a nearby hospital. The patients have started biting the doctors. The police and fire trucks are on the scene. You can hear sirens outside your window. People are starting to get uneasy. People are evacuating your building. So your first decision is if you think your best chance of getting out of the city is via taxi, or you want to jog the 12 blocks and 2 avenues to the 72nd Street subway, catch the next train to Brooklyn, or do you want to go back to your apartment ASAP?
All those are terrible options.
Taxi, subway, or back to your apartment.
I would vote apartment to gather myself and gather some gear. We got to get a backpack.
It could just be like a
plan.
It could just be like a cold or something.
You got to get away from people. You can't be the subway's definitely out. Right? Because you're underground.
Never public transportation.
The bridges, the taxi's the worst option. The bridges are going to be, look at, have you seen The Dark Knight?
Yeah.
Guys, I think you're overreacting. It just sounds
Joker
like a
has
flu.
closed.
It's just a flu.
It's the book is not Can You Survive the Flu?
Well, all we saw on TV was a bunch of people that looked sick.
They were biting the doctors, though. All right.
Maybe they
so
were
what's
hungry.
the decision?
Apartment?
I think apartment.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're all okay with that?
Yeah,
All right.
we'll just get some soup and play some video games. Don't
Wait
go to
till
work
this
for
whole-
a few
wait
days.
Going to
for this whole
page
thing to blow over.
22. Okay. Home, you think. That's the best bet. Has to be familiar, safe, secure. You alternate between walking and jogging through streets, quickly turning explosive. It's a miserable 30-block hike to your apartment. You get to your building a half hour later, soaked in sweat, up the 5 flights of stairs to your apartment, through the door, slam it shut, collapse against it, exhausted. You decide to head down. You need to get some supplies. So you head down to the corner bodega.
Supplies.
Maybe Peter Parker's there.
Your phone is ringing. You look at the display. You see your mom's big smiling face. Great. If you want to ignore the call and start pounding beers, or do you want to answer your mom's call?
You answer
Take
the-
mom's
yeah.
call.
Okay.
Yeah, she might have this flu.
Okay. You answer your mom's call.
That feels a little bit like a false. Like it's one of those books where like the beer choice is going to end up being the good choice. But
All
A
right.
trap.
Against your better judgment, you answer the phone. She tells you to take the ferry to your Aunt Judy's house in Staten Island. Okay, done. You're taking the ferry.
All right.
Let's see where we're jumping ahead here. All right, you run for it. You make it a block. F. More zombies.
Yeah.
Up ahead is a large warehouse. You sprint for the gate. Open. Thank goodness. It's pitch black in there. You slap around.
We try talking to the zombies
at the wall next
Maybe
to
they're
the
just
door.
going to a baseball
You
game.
feel around. It's a light switch. You hit it. Crap. Zombies.
Yeah.
100 dead faces fill the warehouse.
What?
You let loose a blood-curdling scream. Squeeze your eyes shut. Prepare to die. Someone says, "Hey, dude, chill. It's okay." You crack open one eye. One of the zombies is walking over to you. He says, "We're not real zombies." Huh?
What'd I tell you
We were
guys?
supposed to have a zombie walk today. You know, a zombie parade. We dress up like zombies. So it's a meatpacking warehouse, and these guys are dressed up like zombies inside.
See, you got to talk to the zombies first.
So
I was right all, this whole time.
you guys say, well, we have one advantage over the people outside. We look like zombies. One of the guys says, 2 guys look at each other. You thinking what I'm thinking? Then they nod. Shaun of the Dead. Remember the scene from Shaun of the Dead? They
Sure.
dress up like zombies, blend in. But where do we go? We're safe. I was just staring at it. You say, the Statue of Liberty. Someone says, wait, isn't this a meat storage warehouse? So you get some meat, rub it on yourself. It'll hide the smell. So you look around, everyone rubbing chunks of dead cow over themselves. Christ, this is the most ridiculous plan ever. Are you really going to go through with this? Option A, hell no. Take your chances waiting for the rescue in the warehouse. Or new and improved zombie walk it is.
So wait, where are we going as
The
this?
Statue of Liberty.
Just as the.
It's
pretend-
fairly nearby. You're going to try and swim there.
I think that's a good plan.
Yeah,
I think
we
the
gotta-
government hit a rocket ship inside the Statue of Liberty, and we could use that.
You think that? Okay.
Yeah, probably strengthen numbers there with the fake zombie horde.
All right, so we're
that
going
if
ahead
the
with the
zombies
zombie walk.
do intercept
Yeah,
you.
if you
some
stay in
other
the
people
middle
are
of
gonna
it,
die
then the
first.
zombies
Yeah.
will get full, and then you'll
Yeah.
be fine.
All right, so slowly everyone makes their way out of the warehouse. The real zombies stumble around you. They get closer. They sniff out. They examine you. If you're too nervous, you think the jig is up and run, you can do that. Or you can keep up the act and try to make it to
Well,
us.
you
gotta
always
stay
keep
strong.
up the
You
act.
gotta stay
You're committed
strong.
at this
All right,
point.
we're going to
But you can give a little chuckle at the people that run.
All right, so keeping the zombie act up best you can, you stumble right through the zombies. Cut out a lot here. Where are we going? Jumping ahead. All right, you make it up to the Statue of Liberty. You
What'd
get
you
in the
write
water
there?
where you're greeted by, so you get in the water, you swim to the Statue of Liberty, you make it where you're greeted by soldiers.
Nice.
Yeah.
Damon, I see you actually composed some of your own zombie fiction. In this
Yeah. So the soldiers take you inside of the Statue of Liberty all the way up to the crown. 20 minutes later, you
where the
notice
ship is.
one of the soldiers' leg is soaked through with blood. Do you assume he's bitten, he's going to turn, you try to kill him first, or do you take his word that
He
it's
might
just,
have that leg flu.
you take its word that it's just a scratch?
Those
we
are
not-
both terrible options. Why
Can we not report him
Yeah.
to someone else?
Those are your 2 options. You have to believe him that it's just a scratch, or you try to kill him first.
Well, you can't.
We've skipped over some things.
Yeah,
in the
you
book
can't
here.
try and just kill him without really good probable cause.
Due process.
Yeah, you're gonna get killed if you try to kill him first.
What if he's just a really good cosplayer?
Okay, so we're gonna take his word. It's just a scratch.
Those are both
This
kind
isn't
of-
gonna
Hope for the
well,
best.
I'm not pleased with these.
Jumping back to page 74. All right. You put it out of your mind. There's nothing you can do about it anyway. You couldn't take this guy down even if you had 10 guys helping you.
Well, that would have been good to know before we made a decision.
Yeah, that's true.
Previous decision only
all right.
was a futile choice between death and death.
Finally, you reach the torch of the Statue of Liberty. The zombies try to follow you unsuccessfully. They tumble over the side of the little opening. They free fall down to the ground. You're climbing out to the torch. Wind is howling, threatening to blow you off. And you wait. You wait for the helicopter that maybe just might be coming someday. The end.
That sucks.
That's just like the end of the first X-Men movie.
Yeah. So it ended with you just safe for the moment out on the Statue of Liberty's torch.
That's
think
so
we did it.
inconclusive.
It's an end.
By book 2.
In the book, Can You Survive the Zombie Apocalypse? At
At
least you didn't die. There's lots of ways to die.
What
All in
happens if
all.
you kill the soldier?
If you try to kill him, he actually stops you and blows your head off.
Maybe a better end than being marooned in the torch.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'm pretty pleased with that.
Yeah,
I think.
just wait it out. Maybe.
Lady Liberty.
Yep.
Also, they don't allow people up in the torch anymore, right?
After
true?
the zombie thing.
Yeah. Ever since
they
the
would have had to open
zombie
it up.
apocalypse. All right, our 20 questions suggestion this week comes from Ryan Lengel in West Des Moines, Iowa.
I was just there.
You know him?
No.
Okay. Before we get to his suggestion, he has an email here. He says, I'm 40 years old. I spent most of the mid to late 80s, 90s, and early 2000s gaming. However, from about 2006 to 2015, I more or less didn't play video games. If a Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, or Call of the Duty game came out, I would grab it, play for a week or two, and then not game until another came out. Needless to say, I missed out on many great games.
The whole 360 PS3 generation.
2015, I got back into gaming, researched the best games that I missed, and have been playing through a phenomenal back catalog. My question for you is, when you look back at your time as a gamer, can you identify examples of personal gaming evolution? For example, when I got back into gaming 2 years ago, I mainly wanted to play games that were fast-paced with lots of action. The idea of performing recon on an area in a game and performing stealth maneuvers and kills would have bored me to tears. Now, after playing games such as Metal Gear Solid, Snake Eater, and Peace Walker, and Far Cry 3, I relish the chance to perform CQC or take over a camp without sounding an alarm or being seen.
Close quarters combat.
Got it. I haven't moved on from fast action games. Still enjoy playing them, but I now enjoy games that require patience and a different set of skills, which I never thought would happen. Do you have any examples of your own? When I was thinking about this, I think I might be the exact opposite.
I was thinking the
I
same.
don't think I've changed at all. I think the games that I like today are exactly the same. Open world adventure games, puzzle games, card games, turn-based strategy games.
I stopped liking competitive games.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I ever really did.
Well, I used to play Perfect Dark a lot,
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's true.
and
Me too.
GoldenEye,
Yeah.
and Mario Kart. And I had friend groups that I played those in. And then when online game starting, I did that. I did that for a while, and I just don't like it anymore.
Yeah.
It's
Do you
not a
not
fun
like it
social
anymore,
experience.
or is it just had changed? The situation's changed. Because for me, it was like being in college, and everyone would just come over and we play Perfect Dark and
think I
GoldenEye and
changed.
Rival Schools, but now we're all my friends and I are all spread
Scattered
out.
to the
and
wind.
like,
Yep.
I'm married, and
Yeah, it's hard to say. I still play games with a lot of people, but not online video game shooters.
yeah. Ryan, you thinking the same way? Where
I'm
you're
the same as you. Yeah, it's like I played some strategy games back in the day and really long role playing games, and now I just with full time job and family, like
Yeah.
I don't have as much time for super long games, and I used to in the Street Fighter 2 Mortal Kombat heyday in the early 90s. I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
all in on that.
Yeah,
just
once again.
all in, and now I just don't play fighting games. They don't interest me
Same.
anymore.
That's another really good example. Of course, we all played Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter 2
Yeah.
like crazy.
I had all the moves memorized, the whole thing. I mean, it's just like now,
It's crazy.
Not my
Yeah.
thing.
That was like everyone, like when Street Fighter 2 came out, everyone who played games played that game, and it was like the game of the year. It was the game of the moment that everyone was playing. Now, it's virtually impossible for me to imagine a scenario where a Street Fighter game or any fighting game is like the game of the year that everyone's playing. Because it's just fighting games have become kind of more of a niche thing. Still very
much.
popular.
Yeah, and they're fantastic.
Sure.
They're special.
It's not
they're
like the
these,
thing that everyone's
Yeah, they're like
playing.
these razor sharp, specialized
Yeah.
precision tools that
Yeah,
are really good at the one thing they do, which is one-on-one fighting.
Yeah. Justin, how have you evolved as a gamer or not evolved?
Well, so there's definitely games that in my head I'm like, I'm going to be really into that, but then the reality doesn't match up. Like in my head, I still really like strategy RPGs like Disgaea and Final Fantasy Tactics, but every time I try to pick one up, I play it for a couple hours and then end up getting a little bored. Like it's a little bit too slow for me now. Or strategy games, tactic games. Every once in a while, like I did play like 50 hours of Factorio or something, so I can get really, really into one. But it's very, very uncommon. Like a game like Pillars of Eternity, I'll read about it obsessively, be really excited about it, really want to be into it. But the reality of sitting down to play, like Ryan said, it's a harder fit for my lifestyle right now. The only thing that's really stuck are card games, like you said. They've been a pretty constant since I found Magic the Gathering back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And now, transitioned into digital card games.
Yeah, me too.
But otherwise, I mean, I need a little bit more instant gratification. I keep getting fooled by them. I keep buying RPGs and buying strategy games and buying these slower paced games. And I think they're still what I'm into. But then the reality is I don't end up spending as much time with them as I want.
Yeah. I can even think of a lot of examples where I've been kind of resistant to get on board with new gaming trends and new gameplay styles. Like sandbox games like Minecraft doesn't work for me. Multiplayer only games as service. Like
I think I would have liked Dark
Destiny.
Souls when I was a kid, but I don't like it now.
Yeah, I don't know.
For instance.
That's another thing.
Like it seems like a really cool, difficult Castlevania game, but for me now, it's just not that fun.
Yeah. I'm just stuck in my ways.
Curmudgeon. Yeah, both
hopefully we never run out of open world adventure games.
But conversely, like I just played my first 3D Final Fantasy in my life. I just loved my first Metal Gear.
Or you 30.
I've never played any of them. Like
see what
I
you're
like
saying.
Final Fantasy 15. I like Metal Gear Solid 5. Like I totally experiment in games that I never played before.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
That's true.
Even still playing Disgaea and listening to Weezer.
What's wrong with Weezer?
Nothing. I'm just saying, like setting your it's still.
Weezer's a little. I do like Weezer. I wouldn't. Probably not in my like top
I
20.
don't know why I
bands,
pulled
but
them out of a hat. Just because I'm trying to pick something that's a little.
Still listening to the Beastie Boys.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and Ryan.
You know that the Beastie Boys save humanity? I just finally saw Star Trek Beyond on Amazon Prime.
Right. And they play
Beastie
that, they play
Boys are
Sabotage in
the
it,
savior of humanity.
Wow, that's interesting.
Not a joke.
I did not see
That is
Star
the
Trek
plot
Beyond.
Spoiler, that is the plot of Star Trek Beyond.
Yeah, they use like
Not
an
a great
audio
film.
file,
All right.
ancient classical music
I
file.
haven't seen that movie yet.
That's a callback to the first
Yeah.
Star Trek remake, the J.J. Abrams one.
Yeah.
Because Captain, what's his name, listens to the Beastie Boys in his car when he steals a car.
Good old Captain Captain Kirk.
That's right.
What's his name?
And now, guess which one I like more, Star Trek or Star Wars? Ryan Langle from West Des Moines, Iowa, also gives us our 20 questions suggestion. This week, let the questioning begin.
What? Okay.
Do you pilot some kind of vehicle or mechanical anything in this game?
No.
Wait, he just told us this entire era of games that he doesn't play.
Okay, that's true. That's true.
Which is good, but I mean, I just might be a clue here. Is this a game from before the year 2000?
Yes.
Cool.
All right. Is this a console game?
What do you mean? Are you asking if this game appeared on a console?
Or is it a console?
All right.
Exclusive?
Was it first release on a PC?
No.
Okay, so that's
All right. Did it come out before 1990?
Yes.
all right.
Did it come out before 1985?
No.
For that.
Okay.
Not before 1985.
That's really interesting. So we're probably looking at NES
Yes.
or possibly arcade, but
Master System.
yeah, unlikely.
TurboGrafx.
Unlikely.
And it's not PC. That's good. Good to know.
Yeah.
Was this an arcade game too?
Yes.
Ooh, that's good.
So that rules out a lot.
It does. That's a really great.
Thin era of arcade.
We could be looking at TMNT arcade game.
Be looking at
90.
anything by
That was
now.
90.
No, it was 89.
89. Well, okay. We need to establish whether these things came out. It came out on the NES too, because if it came out on the NES, that wasn't out by then. Anyway, yeah. Was this on the NES?
Yes.
Double Dragon, possibly. Was this game developed in Japan?
Yes.
Double Dragon's looking good.
There's a lot of games looking good. Was this a beat 'em up?
No. Let's go.
All right.
No, it is not a beat.
It rules out Double Dragon.
Well, so it could be a fighting game. Could be Trip and Damon Up.
Well, there's no real fighting games from before
Street Fighter 1?
Street Fighter 2. Yeah, but it wasn't on the NES.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, Street Fighter 2049 was on the NES.
The Karate Champ.
I think Street Fighter 1 was on TurboGrafx.
Yeah. Karate Champ. I think it's from an earlier arcade incarnation.
Yeah, you might be right.
But there's seriously a million games. We got to get a genre.
This could be
down or
Ninja
company.
Gaiden too. OG Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, would we call that an arcade?
Was that an arcade
port?
game?
Arcade and NES.
Bionic Commando and Ninja Gaiden were both in the arcades.
I
too.
only ever think about them as
Was this a
NES
Capcom
games.
game?
Nope. That is 10.
So
Wait, what did you just say?
I just asked if it was a Capcom game.
Oh,
It would
okay.
eliminate tons of. We did this last. It was a similar
Yeah.
line of questioning last week. So Konami, Tecmo would be
Yeah.
good ones to ask about. But we could also ask if it has sequels. There's a lot of things. We could do.
Was this a licensed game?
No.
Does it have sequels?
No.
All right.
Karate Champ.
We had Karate Champ on before.
Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably not.
Or maybe we had a different karate game. But yeah, it could be that.
Well, now I'm tripped up.
Because it's not quite a brawler, right? Because we also have like Rygar and Karnov. Those are really good options.
We've had Karnov before.
We've had Karnov before.
Yeah.
We have Kid Nicky and there's a bunch. Amagon. There's a bunch of brawlers.
I've never even heard of some of those. What is Amagon?
I think it's a
Icarus
game where you're really
probably isn't.
small and then you get a power up and you turn giant
All right.
and you just beat stuff up.
Yeah.
Thinking like, in the Kid Icarus vein, but based on his answer to the
brawler
beat 'em up
question.
thing. Yeah.
Rampage?
Or Rygar, I was thinking.
Rampage got a
it
bunch
was
of
never
sequels.
wasn't really? Like
Well,
official Rampage? I
I mean, they
remember
made
there
at least Rampage 64. I assume there were others.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Does this have multiplayer?
Good question.
Yes.
Okay, it's sounding more and more like Rampage. Who made Rampage? Midway?
No, but he said there were no
I believe
sequels.
You're correct.
Well, Midway published. Oh, that's true. That's a problem. Yeah. Darn it. And it's American, I think. Now that I think about it, so it
Yeah,
can't be Rampage.
yeah, that's right.
But it's got multiplayer, so it can't be
So
Rygar.
Japanese developed, no sequels.
Arcade and NES game from the late 80s.
It's not a brawler, so it can't be like. See, that throws me off a little bit because I would immediately go to Contra and
No licenses, no sequels, no Capcom. So like you gotta think of like a Konami or like Tecmo game that didn't get sequels. You keep having like Sunset
would you play with friends?
Riders and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I remember
Like, is there like a TMNT?
Jackal, Legendary Wings, that
those
kind
are all,
of stuff.
Those are good
Yeah?
options.
No sequels to either of those.
You shoot guns in both of those, right?
Yeah, and guns from your Jeep and Jackal and your
what was the one you
like
just
an
said?
angel guy with wings.
I
And
mean, I'm not on the right
Do you
track.
shoot a gun in this game?
Yes.
I was thinking about, is it useful to know if it's like competitive or cooperative?
everything was cooperative back then.
Yeah.
There really wasn't. That was sort of 2-player co-op was the predominant.
Yeah.
Can't be Bubble Bobble.
Although I guess
I mean, as long as we've gotten away from like fighting games, there was probably not much competitive back then. It's too early to be a fighting game, most likely.
Did we ask if it was a Konami game? Is it a Konami game?
Yes.
dun, dun, dun.
He's done it.
Jackal's still
I
in
can do
play.
this.
5 questions left.
I think it's Jackal.
I love that
But
game.
he didn't. He got tripped up by the brawler thing. So if it's not that, it would have to be.
Contra's out.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I mean, all the
like
Konami license.
the Ninja
stuff is
Turtle,
out,
yeah.
And all the Gradius series is out too because those have sequels.
And you're in a ship. Are you in a ship in Jackal?
No,
You get in a vehicle
Maybe,
of any
I don't
kind?
remember.
Yeah, you're only in the Jeep. Jackal's a really cool one. I hope it's that.
Yeah, or that game.
There's also Konami has Castlevania, and it has. Just think of all the silver boxes. It has Bayou Billy, which we've had
Sequels,
before,
Yeah.
which would apply to all of these too.
It's probably Jackal.
Are you in a Jeep?
I already said you don't get into any sort of
Oh, you
vehicle.
did?
Do you really want to use that question?
We do not.
Oh, so it's
But what if
definitely
you
not
are a
Jackal.
vehicle? No, you're
So-
just in a.
And Bayou Billy wasn't 2-player, I don't think. We already had that
We
one.
really should have this already, given that how far we've narrowed it.
Konami
See,
game.
I'm struggling to remember
Konami game.
my Konami games now from that era that weren't
Uh,
Ninja Turtles. and weren't
Goemon?
Jackal and-
There's also the 1942 series, but that obviously
Definitely a
doesn't
vehicle.
work
there was
for any of that.
wasn't there a sequel? Wasn't there a 1943?
Yeah, there were a bunch of sequels.
Capcom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. That's a good point.
Okay, Konami game.
All right, 5 questions left.
Think of those silver boxes.
I know. That's what I'm trying to picture.
I didn't have
Some
any
questions.
exposure to arcades back then.
Well, just so many things reported to the arcade. And you
I mean, it
said you
could-
did shoot a gun?
Did Konami make like Operation Wolf or any of those like gun games? Like,
Yeah, potentially. I don't know what was ported to the NES from.
yeah,
if
I'm sure the
Operation
ports
Wolf
would be
was.
bad. Whatever was.
What are the other top down games like Commando and
Ooh.
Ikari Warriors type games?
Yeah,
Smoke?
yeah.
That's Capcom.
That was Nintendo first party.
We had Commando on before. That was also Capcom. Jeez, I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's 5 questions.
I'm at a dead end here.
Yeah, me too.
And you said it
Is this
wasn't licensed, right?
Is this
Not licensed.
like a military themed game?
Yes.
It doesn't have sequels, and it's from Konami.
It's not Goemon, guys.
It's 2-player.
It's at least 2-player.
It could still be Jackal except for the vehicle part.
Yeah.
So that rules that out.
A lot of 80s arcade games just had players alternating turns for its multiplayer.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Big hint. Damon's trying to drag us across the finish line here.
It's little too much dead air.
Yeah.
We got to ask her
Do we-
4 questions.
What are the army like games? So you have Commando, Ikari Warriors, like Rambo, Contra.
Yeah.
What are the Contra knockoffs? You know, like the other type of Contra games.
Yeah, I don't know.
Would
I can't.
okay? I was gonna say Super C, which like
Yeah.
technically never mind because that's out of the era anyway.
I don't know what else to ask. Is this game highly regarded?
Why,
It's a subjective question.
Yeah. Or like how
be a little more
rated?
specific.
All right.
Are you giving up? You got 4 questions left. We got to either ask them or we got to wrap it up.
I know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I'm out.
I just don't even have a guess at
Yeah,
this point
same.
because
Everyone will know this game.
Yeah.
This you play in a jungle? You in a jungle in this game? Spend a lot of time in a jungle?
I can't answer that. I don't know.
You can't answer that?
I don't know if you ever go to the jungle in this game.
What about like Twin Cobra or what's the boat game?
There's Spy Hunter.
Cobra
That had
Triangle, is that
sequels,
what
I
it's
think.
called?
Yeah, and also it had a movie.
Is this? Did we ask if it was side scroller?
No.
Is it a side scroller?
Yes.
I don't know what to do.
Got 3
It's
questions
so
left.
obvious. Just running, jumping.
A Konami game, a Konami military side scroller that came to arcades and the NES that didn't get sequels. It's not a brawler.
and it uses you shoot guns
And
And we all know it.
yes.
and we all know it.
That just rubs it in even worse.
That's what you said about Blackthorn. I would have never got Blackthorn in a million years.
This one is better known than Blackthorn.
Okay.
What about like Russian Attack? Is that a Konami game?
I don't know.
Well, that
Bump and jump?
wasn't Russian Attack in with the NES Classic. So
No.
I feel like I've encountered that game recently. Maybe not. Oh no, Russian Attack was like remade as an Xbox Live Arcade game.
Oh,
That's what it was.
Jeez.
And you know what? It might
They have
be
like a-
Russian Attack. You might actually have stumbled on it because I'm almost sure that's a Konami game. But I don't remember if it was side.
They have like a
scrolling or not.
Bionic Commando knockoff.
Probably is. Should we just go with Russian Attack and then just take the L if we need to?
Yeah, there's
But
also like.
But he says it's super well known. I don't know if Russian
Yeah.
Attack would quite fall into
Totally.
that category.
And then there's like Narc, that era of game.
oh, was that? Hold on, was
And then what's the other drug?
no? And that was an arcade
That's
game.
what I was trying to think of that drug. The drug.
Narc
the
might
drug
be
game.
it actually, because it's guns, it's side scrolling, it's 2-player.
I don't know if it's Konami.
It's
I think
arcade.
it's Midway.
I don't know. The home version might have, but
Does it have drugs in it?
No.
Doberman's trying to hunt you down.
But something
That was
like
a good
that.
guess, though. That was a good thought process.
What about Russian Attack and games like that?
Got nothing left.
Yeah.
And there's Mighty Final Fight. That would be a good. No, that's not Konami either. Sorry to dig deep in my Konami stuff. I don't know.
Worst radio ever for those of you.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
There's nobody listening. It's fine.
It's been tough.
They're all gone. Last person shut the door on the way out.
I guess we'll just ask, is it Russian attack?
Yes.
I would not have expected that to be considered as more well known.
Yeah.
Then Blackthorn?
Yeah.
Well, these guys didn't know
Blizzard-
Blackthorn, but these guys actually knew Russian Attack.
Oh.
I'm extremely happy right now.
Released in 1985 in
Good job
arcades.
pulling that one out of the hat.
Really?
Sam. That
Ported
Really
to the
arcade.
NES in 1987. And what tripped me up about the Brawler is that your primary method of attack is knife. It's a knife game.
I've
you can
never
pick up-
played Russian Attack,
And
I didn't know it was Konami
For,
that made it.
It's a Konami game, yes.
for those of you at home, it's not RUSSIAN.
No,
It's
it's
RUSH apostrophe N. Rush
Like-
and attack.
Really, the entendre there never struck me until right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
When you say it out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, Russian Attack.
But it's like an early, well, I guess it wasn't really an early NES game, but
By the way,
Sorry for the dead
hats
air.
off to Damon for the poker face on that
was
one.
trying,
That's
yeah.
impressive.
I-
I know, that killed me.
I would not have picked that as an 85. Like, that's early.
in the arcades, yeah.
Wow.
It came to the NES in 87 and has a great soundtrack. Really good soundtrack. Ryan Lango, who suggested it, says, I had this game as a kid and loved it even though I realized it's an average game. It went along with my interest in Cold War era things like playing War in the Woods and the movie Red Dawn.
Yeah, remember the NES game Hunt for Red October?
Well, yeah.
I have
Based
him
on
in
the-
my sights.
Based on the film, yeah.
Russian Attack it does have the silver Konami cover, right?
Yeah.
And it says like Russian Attack on it. So yeah,
Yeah.
we're on the right trail.
Two players alternating. That's why I feel like the multiplayer question is difficult for those older games.
Yeah, I would have
Because
never-
you imagine
that
two
wasn't
players
a good
playing at the same
Sound
time.
like Super Mario Brothers being a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
Like, well, not really.
Yeah, so
I can't believe we got to like what was it? You asked a really funny one. Basically Rambo like shooters.
yeah.
And you just try to go through them, and then in my head, I just see all the NES box
I
art.
asked if it was in the jungle.
See all the guys with their headbands and their shirts
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah. This guy's wearing like a beret on the cover. I think he's like
Cool.
coming through the box with this.
Yeah, I have to
gun.
look it up after this for sure. Wow,
It's a cool game. Lots of dogs. You knife a lot of dogs in that game.
really?
Yeah.
That was 2 NES clenchers in the last week.
Yeah. Last week's was Ikari Warriors. They got it on the
nice.
20th question.
I think it would have been cool if this week it was Ikari Warriors 2, and then next week it was Ikari Warriors 3.
Surely he wouldn't do it to us a third time.
There's no way. Yeah, it's pretty good. Thank you for the suggestion there, Ryan. And that brings us to all the scoops that we have for you this week. Remember, you can always reach us at the email address, gamescoop@ign.com. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Ryan. My name is Damon. This is IGN Gamescoop, and we're out.